Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to do a story titled, Am I the a-hole for wanting nothing to do with my kids and ex-wife after 2 years of false statements? Gotta watch what I say here. And a shout out to Mr. Arkansas for sending this story. And guys, this is about a father who is done. He is the end of his rope, has had enough of 2 years of chaos that all went back to one evening when you're going to see where, let's just say, the authorities show up at his house, the police, CPS, after a lot of things that he obviously didn't do were said about him. And after 2 years of chaos, this guy is done. And you know what? You can't blame him. It is a big, giant mess. And we can all speculate where it started, probably from the angry ex-wife. But at the end of the day, guys, this one reveals where a guy can be pushed just too far. And as much as you love your kids, you got to protect yourself, because all it takes is one thing being said. You all know this. And that's it. Your life implodes. And in this situation here, frankly, it's not that bad, but holy crap, it could have gotten way out of hand. And it's just so unfortunate this happens. Like, it happens to guys. It's crazy. You don't ever hear anything close to this happening to moms and wives and all that. And there's a point, guys, enough's enough. You got to walk away. And a story like this is definitely going to get a lot of people having opinions. The whole comment section is all over the place. But then we're going to go over here, guys. And there's a point that you just, sadly, you're pushed too far. You got to start over. So it starts off, says here, hold on, because this story is a doozy. You ain't kidding there. I'm going to omit some details to help keep myself from getting doxxed about this whole thing. Last year, my kids, a 9-year-old girl and 7-year-old boy, ran away late at night, early in the morning. When found by some city officials, they claimed that I kicked them out of the house. I woke up in the morning to the cops and CPS knocking on the door. Knocking, really? Try banging on the door. I told my side of the story from what I knew, and they had my now ex-wife to tell her side while keeping us separated. The cops claim that our stories don't match and end up arresting me. There we go. Why aren't they arresting her? And what's all this nonsense? And the kids disappear? I bail myself out that same day and go live with my parents for a while. I'm dealing with the court, scared that I'm going to go back to jail or prison, and I'll lose my job that I've only been at for 1 year. Right there. I'm going to believe this guy didn't do anything, and they're all blaming him. The kids are making up a bunch of crap. She's making up a bunch of crap. The question is, why are the kids making up a bunch of crap? What did he do? Right? Well, a lot of times these kids will get these things from the mother. A little over a month goes by, and I get a phone call to have a meeting with CPS, with a woman in charge of our case. My daughter ended up making more statements, if you will, against me that did not make any sense to the CPS people, and when they asked her questions, she was unable to give them answers. In other words, it was a bunch of BS. My son ended up breaking first and admitted the whole thing was made up, and that my daughter was the one who orchestrated everything. Well, that's great the son broke, but the damage is done. This guy can walk away scot-free from all this, realizing the kids are making a bunch of crap. We can all speculate where that came from. But still, think about it. He'll always be known as the guy that, you know, right? And that's it. It can impact his job, his whole future, his career, friendships, and all that. It's terrible. I don't know about you. I'm not a parent, guys, and I don't know what it's like to watch your child being born and hear your kid say his first word and crawl and walk and all those things. But I'm the type of person, I'm done when I'm crossed too far. My life's screwed up. But again, that's just me. But where do these kids get this? Also from the wife. But these kids, I mean, just, my God. Kids know more now than they certainly did 30 years ago when I was younger. This reveal led to the charges being dropped and my daughter getting counseling and psychiatric help. Oh yeah, she definitely needs help. For a while, I thought things were good. We were on our way to fix things. I kept trying to get us all into therapy, both individually and family. I was already in therapy due to this whole situation anyway, but my ex kept dragging her feet and never went anywhere. Ex dragged the feet into her going into it, or the kids get involved. Who knows? What does that say? Well, obviously, they're getting divorced. I couldn't go back to something like this after that, guys. After some other situations with being displaced due to a natural disaster and me trying to get things packed up in our old apartment, I got told by my ex that she wants to divorce me. So now I'm having to rush and try to find a new place to live, which I did luckily. I actually move in tomorrow. By the way, this story came out, I guess, a few months ago, and part 2 of this, which I'll cover, is recent. So after all that, she's divorcing. A big surprise. I'm willing to bet you, the kids are little a-holes for what they did. Maybe not understanding how they could ruin this guy's life, but obviously I wholeheartedly believe the wife had something to do with this, and this probably could have made her divorce easier. On the 14th of June, I get served an emergency protection order by the county sheriff's office. Oh my God. I'm told it's because I allegedly hit my son and gave him a concussion while at the grocery store. Are you freaking kidding me? After all that, after he confessed what he said was BS, back to this again? Where there are cameras. He had been taken to the emergency room by my ex on the 14th, but this event allegedly happened on the 10th. Okay, let's see the grocery store cameras. I told my ex that due to me having to get this house to rent, along with utilities in my name, adding to the $2,000, I wasn't able to pay certain bills for this month, but that I'll get them caught up as soon as I can and get everything paid off. I signed for the deposit on the 11th, and the kids have been with her. The kids have been with her while I did this paperwork, and there was no issues. On that same morning, I'd taken my kids to the park so they could play and record videos of them being silly and having fun. I'm guessing this is what was going on before they showed up and he got served. I was talking to my therapist this week, and I told her what was going on and how I felt about being around my ex or the kids. It's 2 years in a row of false statements. I want nothing to do with any of them now. I'll pay child support gladly. I had an agreement with my ex before all this happened. I'm paying $1,000 a month, $500 per paycheck for child support. After all this, am I the a-hole for not wanting to be around the kids and my ex after everything gets settled and found out to be lies again? No, he's not the a-hole, in my opinion. Look, it's just never-ending BS. I want to know what happened with the whole thing about the kid in the grocery store thing. Look, there's a record with the police that both his kids were liars, but that still isn't going to change anything, and now he's going to be known as the guy who did this. Obviously, the kids are little assholes. I know some people can say, well, they're little kids. Well, I just don't accept that, especially nowadays when kids seem to be knowing more than ever, especially the 9-year-old girl. Is it likely this is coming from the now ex-wife? Yeah, of course, certainly, but still. But where did all this come from initially? It's crazy. Frankly, sooner or later, something's going to be said about him, and he's going to have no evidence, and he's behind bars. Life is too short. There's a point that's just, certainly he's done with the wife, of course, but with the kids, that's heartbreaking. These are his kids. We're hoping they're his kids, and they're doing this to him. There's a point that you just got to walk away and cut your losses. I know people say, as horrible as SSM, you don't understand, you don't have kids, and I don't. But I know myself that there's a point when I'm done, and I'm sure there's others out there like that. Well, now we're on to part 2, how this thing goes. This is, I think, a couple months later. He says here, so I have an update along with answering some questions better from my previous post. When I first posted this, I was not in a good headspace, and I realized I wasn't very clear. To be honest, I'm still not in a good headspace, but it's a little bit better. Dude, of course you're not in a good headspace. Your whole world's falling apart. For starters, these false statements started last year when my kids were 9 and 7. When I said 2 years, I meant calendar years. When I said I spoke with the cops about my side of the story last year, I meant what happened the night before the police and CPS showed up at my front door. I'd gotten home, spent some time with the kids and my ex, then wife, before giving the kids their medicine. And after that, I went and took a shower, made myself some dinner, then ate and cleaned up in the kitchen before spending more time with my wife before we went to bed. Due to a contraction happening when she was being given the epidural, she sleeps better propped up, so she slept on the couch while myself and the kids slept upstairs. The next morning, it was when I woke up and the cops were at the door of CPS. So obviously in the middle of the night, they snuck out. I was charged with abandonment and arrested. It took over a month for the truth to come out about my kids making this up, due to the fact that my daughter was saying that I was having you-know-what with her. Oh my God! What the fuck? Do you know what would happen to him if he was You know, if she didn't fess up and say I made that up, not only his life ruined in prison, but awful things happening in prison. There's no going back to that. Even if the wife coached the kids and all this, still. The CPS agent conducting the investigation tried to ask more details, and that's when my daughter started crying and admitted that she made it up because she couldn't give the details. Goodbye. Bye-bye, daughter. Bye-bye, all of you. The only reason my daughter even knew what that was is because my ex and I were in the bedroom, and we thought the door was locked, and my daughter walked in on us. Moving to now, I don't know how my son got this supposed concussion. We had court again on Monday, the 21st, and when the judge asked her, she told him that after talking with the state trooper, we decided to not press the charges. I asked the judge if there was any evidence that they had about what they were claiming, that I did, and he told me that since no charges were filed, there was no evidence gathered to give to me. So this whole big mess again, and well, never mind, no evidence, dropping the charges. No one's pressing any charges because there wasn't any evidence. This poor guy. I want to thank everyone for their answers in my last post. Thinking about those feelings was making me sick to my stomach, and I just needed some perspective from people who weren't emotionally involved. I thought about this since last month, and I made the decision to tell the judge that I want the divorce process, this EPO to be over with and done with, and I just want to be left alone. I'm still questioning if this is the right decision or not. Bro, nobody can blame you. Everybody can agree you gotta get a divorce, but for the kids, this is so far gone. I mean, again, I'm not a parent, but I'm sure there are guys watching that are parents that their kids said they did those things. They'd be out of there. I look at it as you sadly have to cut your losses, but does he end up in prison? Eventually, it has anything to do with these people. Sooner or later, something's going to stick. I'm not sure what else I could do. I work 12-hour days, 5 to 6 days a week. I have no way to take care of the kids, so I can't take them in. Even then, am I supposed to get to the point where the court system says supervised visits aren't needed anymore and just start wearing a body camera around the kids and just be scared all the time? Looking over my shoulder constantly just to make sure I'm not going to end up in jail again. Right, that's no way to live. And constantly see the kids with supervisors and all that, court-appointed supervisors, and having to record everything, that's crazy. And again, why would you want to after all that? We have a hearing set for December to hopefully get everything finalized and finished. I keep thinking about the kids going trick-or-treating in 3 months, going back to school next month, how we won't be decorating Christmas trees together or making cookies for Santa, and I start crying all over again. I'm not sure what else I could have done, though that would have made me paranoid, mess 24/7. This will be the last update until December or January, I guess. Thank you for everything you're saying. I wasn't the a-hole for feeling this way. Have a good one, Reddit. Holy crap. Now, before I go into some comments here, now, obviously, there's a lot of things left out in this story, but I guess he's getting right to the point. But it's a freaking mess. And yeah, he's heartbroken and crying because this has been going on for 2 years. I'm guessing the kids are now 9 and 11 as opposed to 7 and 9. But everything is gone. And I have no idea how this has impacted things with family or friends or the neighbors or his job. But my God, there's a point, the way I see it, is just you got to walk away. But again, I still think these kids were fed a lot of information from their mother, his now ex-wife, probably to help her with divorce. And I absolutely bank on that. But still, they're responsible for what they said. So there's a point, guys, I think you have to just really look at the big picture and be willing to walk away. Even your own kids, because you can't. Really? Prison? What else are they going to make up next? Seriously. Especially the daughter. I mean, fucking deranged. So anyhow, guys, as you can imagine, the comment section is all over the place here, People that say, most people blame it on the mother, and I stand by that, but some people saying they're your kids, other people saying no way. But I'll read a few. And I'm very eager to hear what you guys have to say. One guy says, not the a-hole. I'm one of the loudest fight for your kids advocates ever. It takes disasters for me to think a parent should distance themselves. You, sir, have a disaster here. Thank you. My big suspicion, how sure are you that your wife or ex-wife isn't the one orchestrating all this? It seems extremely unlikely that with her orchestrating this, that both your kids would make such nonsense one after the other. I think you best get the best lawyer you can to possibly go for broke. You can either get 100% uninhibited custody, etc., or walking away may be your best option. If you lose, just wait for her to later expose herself, then reconsider. So a lot of people are saying he should get either walk away completely, either he gets 100% custody, so he's with the kids all the time, and the ex-wife is in the picture, or walk away completely. But still, the ex-wife can make a big giant mess for him. Another one. Guy says, not the a-hole. It sounds like you don't have an actual custody agreement in place. Get one. They will court order therapy for the daughter as well because she clearly needs it. And it's also possible the daughter is just psycho, and no amount of therapy is going to change an asshole personality. Communicate with your ex only through a court-approved parenting app. These apps share chat records with the court so they can now not be deleted or hidden by either side. What a great idea, that app. It's hard not to get noticed that you keep referring to my side of the story while leaving out key details, like how your son ended up in the ER. What kind of omission makes it sound like there's more to the story than you're willing to admit? Also saying that you want nothing to do with your kids. Adults are supposed to be the stable, compassionate presence, especially when things get difficult. Wanting to walk off completely, even after everything is settled, doesn't sound like someone who's putting their kids' well-being first. So I told you there are people giving him shit. Yeah, but does he want to end up back in jail? Or get a long sentence and be in prison? Seriously, because these kids keep pulling these things. The boy the first time around, then the whole grocery store incident, and then the girl saying things I can't say in this channel. My God. And one more. This guy says, no one's denying that the false statements can be devastating, but the situation seems far more complicated than you're presenting it. Instead of focusing on how you're hurt and how you feel, maybe it's worth asking how your kids end up in such a painful place in the first place. My God. This guy's a right to talk about how bad of a hard time he's going through. This goes to show you no sympathy towards men. Men can be going through hell like he has. Nope, they're just supposed to suck it up and deal with it because the kids are being manipulated by the wife. Or at least we can speculate that. Yeah, it is unfortunate, but how about him? You got to take care of the guy. So the way I see it, this is just not going to work out. There's a point that you just have to just sadly cut your losses and you got bad seeds. Even though the wife clearly is behind all this stuff like that. And you can say, well, then she wins. Well, you know what? Does he want to end up in prison? But it's a tough situation. And again, I'm not a parent, so I can't fully appreciate everything. But I know myself. I know myself when I'm pushed too far. All my life I've been that way. I'm pushed too far. I'm done. I walk away. No regrets. But I'm also a heartless bastard, according to many. So anyway, guys, I'd like to hear what you all think about this situation here. I can't blame him at all for being in the place when he wants to be done. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.